Welcome to Ludus Vulpets. My name's Kirsty.
I'm Phil.
My name's Matt from Board Game Picks.
And today you join us as we run through our highs, mediums and lows of Essen Spiel 2022.
Woo! You mean you didn't min max? There is a medium.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, at least we all made it there this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a good start.
Definitely a pleasant experience when all of us can get there.
It does feel close though. When we fly, I think we all flew this year, and it's an hour and 15. I think yours is even shorter on the way there.
Our return flight was 55 minutes
Wow.
with the tailwind. It's like, what's
Yeah,
going on?
It was powerful.
We did struggle with a bit of luggage though, didn't we, towards the end of the
Yeah.
convention?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
We got there. We worked it out between us.
Definitely.
Got through all our allowances. It was good.
You
fine.
literally got through all our allowances.
Yes.
So, yes, we have returned, and yes, we are now looking at just our post-Essen thoughts, really.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it probably makes sense to start with Matt, because Matt didn't get to go last year.
Yeah.
Matt, what are your highs? What did you really enjoy?
It was a fantastic experience this year. I'd probably say as good as, if not better than 2019. Just to be there for the experience, and there were so many activities and booze and awesome people that are there. The hotel was good, the food was good, the company was good. It's really hard to find a fault with the trip. I was there 6 nights overall, and flying makes it dead easy.
We did have 2 fires.
We did.
I said that bit, yeah.
2
Fire alarm.
Fire alarms.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we might
okay,
come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can come back to that.
But no, for games, managed to get all the games I was interested in talking about. You may have seen on our earlier list, which was really good. There was some stock issues, so there wasn't every game we would have liked to have seen there, unfortunately. But the whole experience, and hopefully everyone gets to go at some point. It is that good. It's just like we enjoy it that much. You want everyone to experience it. It's just totally unique. There's nothing quite like it. How about you guys?
So for me, I thoroughly enjoy any gaming convention. You know, it's a really, really good excuse for gamers to gather together.
Shopping. Sorry, I got a cough.
What did you say, sorry?
No, I'm
What
not.
did you say?
I may have said shopping.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of shopping, but the experience what I was going to say, one of the main experiences that I enjoy about going to these places is meeting new people.
Yeah.
You know, or catching up with the people that we've previously met. So it was great for us to be able to introduce Matt to Simon and Marielle that we met at
Tabletop
Scotland from Blue Fox Comics. It was fantastic to see, you know, all the crew at the Taiwanese board game design. It's really good to catch up with them and have a real good, you know, wag with them and play a few games with them on the Thursday evening, all the way through to new faces. So Ryan that we met, who works for a large organisation. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to
Games Workshop. It's fine.
So yeah, it was great to and we managed, and Chris as well from No Box Games.
Yep.
People who we just accidentally banged into. So we're at the bar. I think one of you ordered me a cup of tea, and the barman's like, 3 beers all around for everyone who wants them.
Yeah, he was pretty.
We just randomly
he was
get
pretty generous.
into Ryan, which was really.
Matt got into a drinking competition with 2 Czech guys.
Yeah, he did.
Clearly
yeah,
from
that one.
Black Friar Games.
Black Friday Games.
Yeah.
Black Friar Games. It was great to meet those guys.
We played a bit of foosball
Foosball, yeah.
foosball, didn't
Well,
we?
England won the first game, and then the Czech Republic smashed us for 2 games solid.
Well, yeah, to be expected. You know, like all these little meets. Yes, the people who we've met previously, but these new, you know, Black Friday Games, the No Box Games, the Games Workshop vote. These are all new people and new connections that we've made by going to these conventions. So they are that's what it's about for me.
Yeah, well, behind all these games are amazing people.
Yes.
And that's the thing that these conventions brings together. You can play it online as much as you want, but ultimately everyone's having meetings and playing games. And It's very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's like the social aspect is kind of I think it's a hidden part of Essen, because Essen itself, the Spiel at Messe, they don't have a great deal of open gaming there. It's not what the event itself is about, and so a lot of people will retire to hotels or apartments and continue and then start to play games. And we were in our hotel's conference facility, which they opened up very generously for gamers in the evening. Yeah. And we got random people coming over and going, "Oh, how's this game play? How does it compare to this?"
Yeah.
And it's like that's the board game community that we're part of. Like it's not rude to wander over to a table of people you don't know and ask them what their opinion is of a game and how it works and how it compares to something else. And I don't know many gamers who would be upset in answering that question either from a random stranger. So like that's quite a privileged position to be in with board games. And a lot of hobbies, people might be a bit more cautious about sharing their knowledge. Whereas the board game community is just like, you have everything I know. It's wonderful.
Your hotel is full of board game superstars. I met David Turchi was in there. You had the Board Gamer Geek squad in there. One of the highlights of my break was giving Eric Martin a fist bump as he walked out of the hotel. That was quite cool. But no, it was a good location for you guys, definitely.
It was, but then so we stayed at the Handelhof, which if you are on a sort of first trip to Essen is a great location because you get out, you come out of the train station, you walk across the road and you're in your hotel, and that's really helpful. Matt stayed at the Moxie, which is ultra cool.
Trendy.
It's nice.
Super cool.
And I mean, we had a real trek when we were going to sort of meet Matt, or Matt was going to meet us. We walked a minute, I think. maybe
door to door.
Maybe 2 doors to door. And those
such a relaxed vibe. You looked out with that hotel. It was fantastic.
Right. Well, and top tip: free tea and coffee all day there if you're in the Moxie.
Well, it was until this video went out.
But it's that kind of, I don't know. It was just very easy, and I think a recommendation to those people who are going to Essen: look at the Central Essen hotels.
Yeah.
It's very easy to get distracted by the hotels at the Messe. But actually, the Central Essen hotels give you access to a wonderful assortment of restaurants as well.
Yeah. So I was hoping we're going to talk about food.
They can save you a fortune on breakfast because you'll be next door to like bakeries and cafes in the morning, which
Essen does do a good bakery, doesn't it?
It does do a lot of bakeries as well. So like that kind of central location, if you are planning an Essen trip, think about the city centre hotels because they're good hotels and they are close to you. Like you won't be disappointed by the food choices.
Yeah, and from that central location, I think when on the underground it was like 3 or 4 stops, so probably like 10 minutes to get to the convention centre. So it's a really good location, and it's not that expensive either to travel.
We should discuss the food that we.
Let's just finish getting there first. For those of you, so Matt Ubers everywhere because he's like a gentleman and we're just scum. So we get trains. So
last year,
on arriving in Dusseldorf, via. Do you want to do your last year story? Go on.
Last year. We were like, it's really late at night, so excited to go and see my sister, haven't seen her for ages. Quick, go straight to the train station. We went to the train station and we wait.
Oh dear.
And we wait. And my sister's messaging saying, the train's there. And we're like, it's not there.
Uh-oh.
It's not there. And she's like, oh, come on. It's just going now. It's leaving. I can see it actively moving on there. No, there's no train. I don't understand. Anyway, half hour, 45 minutes pass. And they go, you have gone on the Skyrail, haven't you?
So that's
like, Skyrail? What? And we've gone to a completely different train station. So this year,
we know what we're doing. So this year,
like, Skyrail.
Yeah. So this year, you'll come out, land at Dusseldorf Airport, and hit the Skyrail. The Skyrail takes you into the main, into the airport train station.
A bit like at Birmingham.
Yeah, a bit like at Birmingham. And then from there, you will get a train to the centre of Essen. It's about €13, or it was like this year. On the slower 2 trains, don't go the ICE or the IC trains. But yeah, it takes about, if you go on the sort of RE trains, which are the like intermittent stoppers rather than all stoppers, it only takes about 25 minutes to get into the centre of Essen. And then half an hour from your hotel for €13 is not a bad shout. And you can get around, even the Ubers weren't that expensive.
About €50, so nothing onerous.
And you've got like
So it works to all budgets.
yeah, and actually, then you've got your metro tickets out to the Spieler, which is I think we were paying
€3 a day.
we paid €11 a couple of days because we wanted to go to the hotel and back. Why did we want to go to the hotel and back multiple times?
Wow, there was a lot of carrying involved all of those days, Phil. An awful lot of carrying.
It wasn't for my drinking.
No,
It was
we weren't carrying Kirsty.
purchasing.
So Kirsty would now like to tell you about food, and I'm sure Matt would like to join in as well.
Okay, so Essen is known as a bit of a shopping capital in Germany, but I found that it's actually a bit of a spectacular place for independent foods.
Definitely.
Well, they're not independent, but small chain foods.
Yeah. So there was a fantastic place that Matt took us to. Is it Hankup?
Yeah, something like that. It was
Little
which
Korean
was
place.
Yeah.
At the train station.
Yeah, oh yeah, that was
So
really
honestly,
good.
it's incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you can see the pictures here. It's really, really
Worth a
good
visit,
food.
definitely.
We also went to is it
Immerglücks.
Immerglücks, which is inside Lim.
No, talking about something else. So I was talking about the burger place.
Yeah, the burger
okay,
place
okay,
is
okay.
very
You're
good.
talking about Blockhouse.
No, I'm not. That was the steak place.
Hamzingluck, which is
was
on the square.
Which is coincidentally the name of a board game publisher.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but they also make burgers
Yes.
apparently.
And
They
then,
do brilliant.
and shock the shock of my trip was watching Matt eat a veggie burger. And she's just like,
It was really
it was
nice,
delicious.
wasn't
It
it?
was excellent, yeah.
So
Why
that
not?
was a fabulous find there. Then there was the Blockhouse,
Yes,
which
great
was the
steaks.
steakhouse, which was delicious. We went
Yeah,
there on our
it was
last night
really
together.
good.
That was really nice. We also went to, I think it's Immergluck. Where they did the most incredible salad bowls I've ever had. Who knew salad and mashed potatoes go well together?
it's salad and mashed potatoes.
Winner.
Weird, but it works really well.
And then finally, saving the best till last, I think, over in Dusseldorf.
Oh my
A
word.
little find, wasn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Kirsty
Gut
and I
instinct.
walked past a tiny shopping centre door and we're
Yeah.
like, this looks interesting. And it was the best Chinese food I've ever eaten. I've left a
was it
review
called?
on
What was it
Google.
called? What was it
I
called?
can't remember.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah,
It-
we'll put a link in the.
But he's also tagged it on his Google Maps.
Yeah.
So we know where
no,
to go
so you can
next
go
year.
I had a text from Google saying 155 people have looked at my review already.
Wow.
That's cool.
So that was quite cool.
Okay, right.
Hang on, that wasn't the best food. You're forgetting about the juice bar. I thought that's what you were going to say.
Oh, yeah, and so in as well as
Find the shopping centre at Essen.
Yeah.
Limbecker-Platz.
Limbecker-Platz.
That's it.
There is an amazing juice bar of which we will find the name of, and it'll be up here. I think it's like Fruster's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And any flavour smooth, and they do ice lollies made of the smoothies. They do smoothies. They do fruit juice. Oh,
They were fabulous.
amazing!
Right,
They were really
I am railroading this conversation back onto games because that's what we're here to.
We love
That's what we're here to
That's
talk.
part of the experience.
It was part of the
People
experience.
want to know about the full
It was
Essen
part-
experience.
It was part of the experience. To be fair, we ate very well, and like in the morning, you'll pick up a breakfast like €5 for a coffee and some kind of pastry. So it's like it's.
Before we go on to the games,
Time.
very quickly, I'd like to talk about the two negative things that happened because I don't want to end on a negative, if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, go for it.
So my two awful experiences during Essen. Number one was getting walked in when I was using the bathroom in a cafe, which was not amusing, but these two found hilarious.
It was kind of funny.
Yeah, and then when I had to look the guy in the face when I walked past him.
he after walking in on you, he quite then politely came and sat next to me and Matt,
and
waiting for you to
smiling
leave.
and
Yeah,
laughing. So yeah, that was hilarious. That wasn't at Essen.
no,
I think
that was in
actually
Dusseldorf. It was
during
actually Dusseldorf. Yeah.
Well, that day we went around all the gaming shops in Dusseldorf.
And Essen.
Every single game
You've been
shop
to them all.
in Essen and Dusseldorf. So
21,000 steps that day, I think it was.
in heels, I might add. And then the other one, which was really sad actually, really it tainted my holiday. And this was the night we got Sabika out on the table. We were ready to learn.
We
excited.
played around.
We played around.
Phil did a sterling job learning from the rule book. It's never easy.
Yeah.
You taught really well.
The room full of cardboard in the conference room. people learning games everywhere. Suddenly, siren. So what's that noise?
And then German announcement.
An announcement in German. Obviously, you're in Germany, but only in German. 3/4 of the people in the room are not German and do not understand.
It's fine.
Sitting around, are we supposed to leave? What do we do?
left.
What happens? What do we do? We're like, someone came in and said, yep, you need to go. So, bearing in mind the night before, we'd had a fire alarm at Matt's wonderful hotel.
Burnt pizza.
Someone had burnt the pizza. Don't worry, chill, everyone. Have a free drink. Everything's fine. Just ignore the noise. Carry on playing your games. This one, we're like, oh, I don't know. Do we want to leave all this stuff here? Someone's smoking in the room or something.
I'm sure I was in the lead in that game.
Yeah, probably. Someone's smoking in the room or just a false alarm. And then Matt goes ahead and he comes back and he's like, this is real, guys. There's smoke. We need to go.
Fire.
And that moment when it went from being light-hearted, ha ha ha, to walking down the stairs and there's smoke, for me it really scared me. And it was one of those, and you've got families bringing out little tiny children. They're literally in their pajamas. They've got no coats for them. They've come out of the hotel. There's an alarm. And then to witness the fact that the hotel staff couldn't open the door.
Couldn't get to the source of fire.
So they couldn't get to the fire. So
it's okay. The fire brigade can put a big metal bar through the window.
Yeah,
it's fine. We've got evidence of that.
We may be showing it. I'm not sure whether we're going to edit it or show it or not. I'm not sure. But, that was a scary moment. That moment when you go, okay, I am in a foreign country. B, if this ends up being a huge fire, my passport's upstairs. I've got nothing with me and I'm standing here without even a coat on. I'm freezing, practically dressed in a dress and heels. What am I going to do? And it's that anxiety, and it really set my anxiety off that night. Yeah, it was that was a big low for me during the event.
You were out there for ages as well, wasn't
For
you?
about 2.5 hours.
Yeah, if not more. And it was
We didn't
freezing.
finish the beaker.
We didn't finish the beaker. Thankfully, the beaker wasn't damaged, but every day from then on, there was such a strong smell of smoke in the hotel.
To be fair, it was a thing that happened, and it was kind of a thing that passed. It wasn't great,
No.
but it didn't spoil the holiday. It didn't spoil the time away at Essen for me. It was just it's a shame it happened.
But I didn't want to finish the video on that, so now we can go back to more positive things. Okay. So let's continue.
Okay, so I think it's worth asking the question of what have we learned from Essen this year? Have we learned anything interesting, or were we bringing back news that is worthy of talking about?
Definitely. I think space and nature are taking over the whole gaming world.
Yeah, sci-fi's always been big, but wow. And nature and environmentally friendly stuff as well. But yeah, we've got the gardens, gardeners, we've got evergreen.
I bought Planet B, Lunar Maris and something else. So there's definitely those are the two key themes.
Yeah, massive themes. Absolutely massive themes.
So for me, it would be, you're not necessarily going to go to save money on games. And a lot of people go, well,
100% agree with that.
Would you go? So some people, and we're having a channel, and channels are needing to be slightly ahead maybe of the crowd. We choose to go to have slightly earlier access to games than we would necessarily have in the UK.
Well, that's a part of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The part of the overall experience is enjoying those new titles that may not. I bought Mobile Markets at last. That still hasn't come to the UK. So hopefully that, the UK will be viewed as a better destination.
I don't know. And we were talking to Eagle Griffin about Weather Machine and asking when it would come to UK retail. And they weren't sure they were going to bring it to UK retail form at all, which is unusual. They've always brought, someone's always distributed.
Yeah, you can find most of their titles at a store. Yeah,
but they're not sure they're going to bring Weather Machine to retail at the UK. It'll hit retail on the continent around December time.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Kickstarter will be fulfilled by then, and all those kind of good things. Yeah. And that kind of just set a few alarm bells ringing, and also some of the lack of stock. So
even pre-orders. Some of the stock hadn't physically reached Germany.
Gallinus was one that I was after that hadn't got unloaded. It was stuck on a ship in Hamburg.
Both Gallinus and Interstellar. We went to Ion Game Store, and they were saying, actually, if you order online during the weekend of Essen, you'll get like whatever the Essen price is and free delivery. So I hope that's not broken their bank. But it was one of those things where it was like there was a lot of hold-ups at customs. There was a lot of problems. DLP game and DLP, not DLP. Who was distributing Sky Mines?
Pegasus Spiel.
And they didn't have any English copies of Sky Mines because they hadn't managed to get the English copies into the country.
I remember you came back from the Iron Game Studios, and I was going to ask you about Interstellar, and you went, "They haven't got any." I went, "Oh, that's a shame. Hopefully they'll be able to get one." I said, "Have they got something else?" And he was like, "No, I haven't got any anything at all. They've got nothing on their stand." There's like, "No, they haven't got anything." I was like,
Gale Force 9.
They had a massive booth, didn't they? They had a huge booth.
Desperately waiting for delivery. And you've got to feel for these companies that
they've invested in the stands as well.
That's right.
And it's not cheap to
appear at
exhibit. And the changes in the customs and the organisation, it's just
some of it's hangover from COVID, I suspect, like great restrictions and great and more limited travel.
Production.
And production is the other one, and transporting goods is just not easy these days. And
it's expensive.
I think it was Gale Force 9 was just bleak. But also, we picked up Deities, which was definitely on your list.
Yeah, I pre-ordered Deities. It was on my list from Mandy Games, and I'd arranged to pre-order it on the Friday.
Yeah, and they were their games were distributed from the Korean pavilion.
Yes,
and there were a lot of games being distributed from that pavilion, but they had empty shelves as well,
completely
because they hadn't got any stock in.
I sent an email on I think it was the Friday night or the Saturday? No, it might have been the Friday, saying, look, I was supposed to pick this up today. It wasn't there. If the stock comes in, can you please keep one aside for me? Because I have pre-ordered it. And then it finally arrived on the Saturday evening for me to collect Sunday, I think it was. So I managed to pick that one up, thankfully, on the Sunday.
You put a deposit down on that one, had you, or something? Or was that?
No, it was
reserved for sale.
It was reserved, yeah.
So that was...
I reserved Sabika and Airmail and didn't have any room. Just ran out of room. So they never came home with me, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, a lot of the big games, they were there. They were in abundance. There were like Great Western Trail Argentina with 40 English copies a day were being traded.
The queues for that one,
there's that Lookout Game Store. Like on day one, they were like queuing all the way around Hall 5.
Yeah.
On day 2, we got in the queue early, but by the time we got our copy of Atawar and got out of the queue was around Hall 5.
So obviously there were quite a few new releases from Aporta Games, Chili Fox Games, Matago. There was another one that was it, and the queue for that one. So when we went on
the queue
Thursday,
for the Matago store was horrendous.
Matt had gone to go and get your bits and pieces, hadn't you? And then so Phil joined a queue, and then I used Phil's base point of the queue to go and pop to all the different little distributors.
You've done well there, because you came back with a lot of games on that first morning. I was really surprised. You were like a packed horse, mate.
It was
that many bags.
It was hard work.
I think I've just got over the bruising on the shoulders.
But that Matago, because the Matago stall does retail for loads of
they distribute, don't they?
And so you've got. You had Revive, Come Together. What else was new there? The Gardens were there. A Walk in the Park. Like, you got a lot of new releases all stacked in one place.
And to be fair, for the amount of queues and for the amount of stock that they had, it's quite a small booth for what it was.
It was wonderful watching Revive on day 1 being sort of my head high in 2 stacks, and by day 2 when I got back into the Matago stall, because you wanted to pick up a couple of other things, I can't remember what they were, but we went back in and the Revive were around my ankles. It was like that game just
and Come Together as well.
Come Together didn't do quite as well, but it was going.
There was a bit of contradiction, because with DLP games they didn't have a fancy booth or anything. They just had pallets. So they were selling off pallets. They had Rise and Orleans and some of their older titles as well. I could see they were selling.
So
it's like the opposite way of doing it. We had people like Game Brewer who had a booth. They just had loads of demo tables out, and they weren't selling that much. They had some stuff.
Game Brewers. Oak was Game Brewer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So
because they had a separate sale area, didn't they?
Oh, separate sale area, was it?
A large area like this, and then like one store area where everything was like along the back wall.
Oh yeah.
If from this you can read that everyone does it differently, yes, and you are absolutely right. And you know, it was great to pop over to Medusa Games and then the UK Games Expo store. And see Rich and the team, and actually, you know, for Kirsty, just get a cup of tea, which was a Yorkshire tea. Yeah, that was good.
So one thing which I really noticed, and I actually spoke to a couple of the not organisers, because it wasn't the organisers, the companies who had hired the space there. So Hall 4 was where Taiwanese board games were. Korean board games were there.
Japan.
Japanese board games were there. And it felt very much like, and apparently it happens at every convention they go to.
It's the Asian hall.
They're all put in one hall. And I don't understand why, because like competitively, some of the art styles might be similar. It would be better for everyone, presumably, for them to be in separate halls, so that you've got that mix.
It's tricky because if you have two Hall 3, for example, was a lot of large commercial entities, and you put someone in between those, they might get lost. So there's a balance to be had, but I completely see the point. It doesn't have to be that way all the time.
No.
But and how much are they spending on booze? We just don't know, do we?
No.
Yeah, and actually we don't know the cost difference between Hall 6 to Hall 1. Like, it could be quite a big swing.
Another quick thing just to mention is, like, we saw organisations who were as large as maybe, you know, like a tenth of a hall, through to organisations that, and booth sizes that were smaller than this table. Like the three of us would be bigger than some of the booths.
I'm putting some walkthroughs onto Board Game Picks so you can have a look at what the stalls were like and how many people were there, that kind of thing.
And it's like, if you are a small independent, if you want to have, you know, games play tested, go there. Yeah. Experience it. You've got such a wide variety of people who can give you feedback. And if you can't find honest feedback at somewhere like Essen, where you're surrounded by gamers,
you'll probably never find it.
But there's a lot of German gamers, isn't there, as well? So it's something to be mindful of. Is that if you're demoing a game, have your rules. Maybe have your idea was to have a German printout to help people with the flow.
At least you've got at least two languages.
But day 1, day 2, there was a lot of purchasing, a lot of pickups. And then after that, I got to enjoy it a little bit. You had a day off on the Saturday. I went and did a little bit of browsing on Saturday morning, which was good.
Day off. I'd say learning games and creating content.
Day off.
I guess it's a bit of a day off.
That's your job.
And then
First line I'd had in days.
Sunday was a really nice day. It was really chilled, like walking around, chatting to people, picking up one or two things right at the end of the whole thing. So it was a really nice. I don't know, I think Sunday's the chill day there, isn't it? It's the day when you can genuinely browse without being crushed.
We got a couple of demos in as well that day, didn't we? It's nice to...
Sunday for me was a proper zen chill out. So Ryan kindly allowed me to have a little painting session on the Games Workshop stand, and 2.5...
2 hours.
Pass it me actually, and I can show you my little miniature. So... For anyone that knows about my miniature painting, it takes me about,
a month?
A month at least to finish a miniature. And it's gone from being a month, hang on, there's yours, all the way through to doing this little beauty, which I will do close-up photos above as well, in about 2 hours.
You look like you're having the time of your life.
I was.
You were getting some expert assistance, I noticed, from Ryan, though.
Yeah. But I mean, like,
it's wicked. It's really good.
It's cool.
Proud.
So it was. Sunday was a very chilled day. I like this. I like the Sunday vibe at Essen. No one's, and there were some discounts to be had on Sunday, but the games have still got to be there. So that's the only thing I caveat. There were some discounts. There were some sort of knocking €5 off here and there, don't expect that to be prevalent, but there was definitely some and
not
some
on
stores.
the first 2 days. I think some weren't even taking stock back with them to their own country. You're just like, did you say someone was going down to $1 at the end, or we saw a sign?
Oh, there was a
I'm
sign.
not
That was
sure
a sign. I
whether
don't know
it
how
was
true
real
it
or
was.
accurate, or whether it was just someone.
Every hour they were reducing the price of their stock
yeah.
if you came at a certain time. The stock was getting cheaper.
I've got to say, with gamers in the house, that's a great idea. Like, how long are you willing to hold out before you go and get a copy?
Is it all going to be gone? So
yeah, it was good, and it was nice to see some Kickstarters there that we could pick up. We picked up a copy of Hamlet.
Yeah, I picked up a copy of Federation, which I missed out on. Because sometimes you want to wait for the reviews and see what people are saying.
Yeah, and I think with games like Hamlet, I think you had your copy delivered at the same time
while I was away.
Probably the same time we bought our copy. Is the reality of that. So it's a nice experience. Like, overall, I think Essen's if you're a gamer and you're a European gamer, not a Euro gamer, but you're based in Europe, you should make the trip once. Like it's
like a pilgrimage.
If you're on the other side of the world in America or close to America, then Gen Con is probably your choice.
Yeah.
But like pick one and do one. Like if you're a gamer, it's worth it.
It's more than just game releases. It's the whole experience. You're standing in the line, waiting for having a coffee, and everyone starts moving towards the doors. It's getting back to your hotel, breaking out a game that you've just learned. There's just so much good stuff. Meeting new people. It's just really hard to fault. It was a great week.
It's about punching 7 kilograms of unwanted cardboard. I literally weighed
punch boards,
7 kilograms of unnecessary punch board out of my case, which allowed me to have another game.
It's an odd one, isn't it? Because like you realise more than ever when you're coming back from Essen, having bought 1 or 2 or more games, just how much empty space is in those in those boxes.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, hard for being able to put little boxes inside big boxes. That's what I can say.
That's a great tip. Yeah, that's a good one.
That would be a tip for me. So if you're going to go to Essen next year and you buy any small games, pop them into your larger games.
Yeah, I think I got about 7 or 8 in. So,
double space.
Double space.
So shall we finish this video and just give our 1 or 2 top tips for Essen? Well, you can give another 2 then, can't you?
Right then, so my top tips would be wear comfy shoes. There's a lot of walking. I am tempted.
I was wearing high heels
you can get a briefcase shaped wheelie thing that you to click out and it clicks into a little basket. I'm tempted to get one of those next time.
So many people were using those.
Yeah, it was popular. But just be aware the first day you don't have to run to get games, but there was a lot of queuing on the first days for games that you're interested in. Do your research on some titles. Make sure you get in the queue for things that you're interested in, not just join a queue randomly and hope for the best.
It was. I think Ryan was showing us video because obviously as an exhibitor they were getting first. And he's video of this horde coming out, and every now and again the camera would turn. It's like we've got another runner just sprinting down one aisle.
There were sprinters. That was quite insane.
It was just like it's the zombie side for real.
And one of the things I'd say that it's not a tip for me, but something that you did, which you found invaluable, I think was the app.
Oh yeah, the app.
We haven't talked about
the app. They did a really good job, the Essen Spiel team, on the app to get around in between different booths. So you can type in what booth you wanted to go to, and it would show you whereabouts it was. So we used that to get in between some of the halls, which was good.
It's quite useful.
But it was just epic. Every hall was just
there was something
full.
there.
I think Hall 5 was my favourite. There's a good mix of bigger brands and smaller independents and things you wouldn't ordinarily see. So that was
and juice bar.
Juice bar as well. Yeah, another juice bar.
Matt, thanks for your top tips. Kirsty, over to you.
Okay, so
these two are obsessed with juice.
It's really, really good juices.
Just need it sometimes.
Yeah. So for me, it's really important if you have a list of games that you really, really want to buy, as you said, make sure you know exactly where they are, be willing to queue and be happy to queue. One thing that was really useful is that we were able to separate and go, right, okay, I'll pick up this one, you pick up that one, and you pick up this one.
Go as a team.
So if there is a team of you that can go and you know that someone's going to stand in queue and you... Like, say, Phil's, I really want Sabika. Phil's going to the Sabika stand and Matt wants it as well, let's just say. Okay, well, they're, say, 40 euros a game, so there's 120 euros. I'll go and buy my 40, 3 different games over there, and you go buy
Sabika
your
wasn't €40.
whichever, Woodcraft, etc. And if you do all want the same games, but you've got one person going to a stand, just
Double down.
Be efficient.
yeah. It's such a more sensible use of time.
Yeah.
You can sort out the money after. It's not a problem.
Yeah, to double down on that as a top tip is try and get your shopping done on day one.
Yeah, get it
if
out
you
the way.
can, if you can carry it all, get it done on day one, because then you can sort of kick back for the rest of the rest of the spiel.
We
So
did
that's
at least 2 trips to the hotel on the day one, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Both of us did.
plan for that.
Yeah.
Plan to be like ferrying games backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Because it's a comfort thing as well for yourself, and buy the ticket that gives you the endless journeys for 24 hours. It's €11, but it doesn't matter if you're going backwards and forwards. You can do that 20 times, and it doesn't matter. It's only cost you €11. The other thing, the other thing about getting all your shopping early on as well is if you're worried about space in the case, you can roughly plan it and know, right, okay, I've only got room for 1 or 2. So when you next do a bit of a shopping spree, you can know, right, that it's between this one or this one.
If you've never packed a case every evening while you're away on holiday for 5 nights, you've not been to Essen. Because you're literally going, I think one more in this case.
Like one thing to me is
this is so typical of Kirsty. We give her 2 top tips and she comes out with a third.
What are my tips then?
Packing regularly to make sure you got space.
Yeah. And what was my other one? Sorry.
And go as a team.
Oh.
And having fun.
Yeah, my other one was
have fun.
My other one was basically just like one of the key things, as I said at the beginning of the video, is the friends that we make. So don't be afraid to kick up that conversation. If you want to know about that game and someone's there playing it, ask them. Yeah,
which falls into my top tip is you're in a foreign country. The obvious temptation is, what if these people don't know English? They almost everyone demoing a game knows English, or they have someone on the team who does know English. You will not miss a demo because you speak English. Yeah. So go and demo games and enjoy that process,
or
because
whatever language you may to speak.
But you're gonna English and German are gonna get you most of the way, but everyone will demo in English. That's kind of just a given. And I understand that people might be nervous about that, but you'll get your demos, and that's great. And the other one is a bit of a weird one, and no one's mentioned it yet. Withdraw a cash budget for how much you want to spend, because Essen is by far and away, I'd say 80% of the stores are cash only. So really be aware of that. You take out what you want to spend before you leave the UK, put it in your pocket, and when it's done, and you've hit your budget, and then you don't get the credit cards out because there are very few vendors using credit cards. Obviously we break this rule.
You're not going to get
on a daily basis because Matago took credit cards. So that was helpful. But the reality is expect it to be a cash event, and you won't be disappointed. So that's my top tip. Take cash.
One thing as well, if you are nervous, and obviously we are in a world, I'll say post-pandemic COVID, but it's still there for some people. A lot of people have got the anxiety, and I don't want to be in a big crowded place breathing on it. It's worth remembering that Essen this year, whether it'll be next year, I don't know, was a mask mandatory event.
Yes, it was.
So irrelevant of whether you are exempt or not, you had to wear a mask. They would not accept in exemptions. So if you're uncomfortable with that, either way, it's just something for you to note, because it could be that we're still in a world where masks are necessary next year.
Okay, I agree. And my final thoughts, and then we'll hand over to you guys. The games industry is still a wonderfully healthy industry, and I think Essen has demonstrated that in abundance. 700 new titles-ish in English. That's a great collection of games. It wasn't as many as last year, which is close to 1,000, but last year was post-pandemic and a lot of COVID titles coming out. But 700 new titles in a year, and that's just one of the big conventions. That's a really healthy place for board games to be. And I look at that with a lot of optimism for the coming years, to say actually it's still a growing industry. There's still new ideas and fresh ideas out there, or fresh combinations of ideas that have been tried before. So we are in a great hobby, and it's going to stay that way.
So don't be afraid to create a prototype.
Fair.
Like, if you think, oh, it's a bit of a weird topic, or no one's really done this before, all the more reason to do it.
Yep.
Oh, it's not a nature game, so will it sell? It doesn't matter. If you don't put your games out there, you'll never know. And I think Essen was a really good example of that.
Yeah, there were some interesting titles.
So, yeah, I mean, do we mention some of them?
No, it's fine.
No? Okay. So, yeah, for me, if you feel that you have a game inside you, just create a prototype.
Just get it out. Just get it out. It'll hurt you less.
Yeah. What? On to you, Matt.
On to the final thought then. My final thought would be the quality of the games this year was really good. Down from a card game about vegetable stock that these guys taught me to playing Sabika, the quality of titles released. I think 2022 is going to be a really strong standout year.
Yeah.
We've only played good stuff, got nothing negative to say about it, and hopefully the strength of the industry continues to grow.
I did see a post on Facebook, someone saying, "Oh, there's no real big buzz title this year like there was last year with a couple of titles." And I was thinking, do you know why? There's not a bad. There's very few bad titles.
There's a lot of good
games coming.
Yeah. Art Nova stood out last year as apparently being the game of the year. I've got mixed feelings on this. Comment below if you don't agree, whatever, that's fine. But there were other games that were far more superior than that game, but it got more of a buzz. Not sure why.
It's
but it did. Whereas this year, all the games are so buzzable that you can't pick up the buzz.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, they're all
on
that
such
level.
a good
Yeah, it's
par.
very high standard.
Some really
Yeah.
good games.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why. Yeah.
No, nothing's really jumping up.
No, because they're all good. Give them all a go.
Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, like and subscribe to our channel. Like and subscribe to Board Game Picks because they're both great channels.
Yep. We're also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Just search Readers for Pez or Board Game Picks. And it's also worth noting that were you at Essen? What were your experience of Essen?
Definitely. What
Comment
did you
below.
think?
Let us know. Like, do you agree with anything? Did we miss anything?
What was your favourite part?
Yeah. We'd really, really love to hear.
Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
See you
you.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.